5D Mystery School.
5D Mystery School. So check this out. Your pineal gland secretes dimethyltryptamine when you go to sleep. And this is the reason why you dream. Your pineal gland also secretes tiny amounts of dimethyltryptamine throughout the day. DMT, dimethyltryptamine, is one of the active ingredients in the brew ayahuasca. Ayahuasca gives you a outer body experience, so does DMT, but it's a shortened version of the brew ayahuasca. But when you take DMT, what we call time doesn't exist, not like the way we perceive it in our waking life. For example, 5 minutes in the waking life would be the equivalent to like 2 or 3 hours while you're in a trance under dimethyltryptamine. This is another reason why when you dream, you can have multiple lives. You can have a whole family. You can experience several different days in your dream, but when you rise, it would only be a couple of hours that it would have passed by. And it's a short window to where you can actually reach the point to where you're dreaming in the rapid eye movement stage. So therefore, when your brain is under the trance of DMT, the way that it perceives the element we know as time changes drastically. So with that being said, if our brain is secreting small amounts of dimethyltryptamine throughout the day, that means that, let's say a human experiences 100 years here on Earth. In simulation terms, that can mean that your soul is inhabiting a sim that experiences 100 years in this game. That means that you could be in a pure mental universe, and the DMT is what's making everything seem like a reality. So throughout the day, when your brain is secreting DMT, this is the reality that you are experiencing. But when you die or you go to sleep, you get a rush of DMT activity. And therefore, this is why you have the dreams that you do. And this is why people have a life review, or they say their life flashes before their eyes when they have near-death experiences. But since DMT affects the way that we see time, you experiencing 100 years here could really only be like a day or a couple of hours back to where your higher self is. When you dream, you get hints and clues of how you can maneuver in the game to attain life lessons that your soul is meant to get in order for you to evolve. When you die, you get a life review seeing what you could have did differently. So all of your choices are recorded throughout the day, and then you get the review when you go to sleep, and you get clues on corrections that you can make. And when it's time for your soul to leave this physical body, your life flashes before your eyes, which means the game that you played flashes before your eyes, and you see everything that your soul learned, all the lessons that you missed, all the lessons that you attained, what's going to roll over to your next existence, and what you still have to complete in order for your soul to leave this physical reality. So while you're sleeping, your subconscious mind is unloading. You having daily reviews, and during your waking life, your subconscious mind talks to you by giving you signs and synchronicities and people in order for you to understand what's being told to you, the directions that are being given to you. So your subconscious mind can use people who are vibrating at your frequency to come into your life to give you a certain message, and then you might never see that person again. All right, I could talk about this for hours, but let me conclude with this, right? I believe that there is an element that can transcend throughout our worlds, and that is water. I say that because when a baby is a fetus, when it's sitting in the mother's womb, the matrix, a soul comes into that fetus at some point. It comes through the womb, through the matrix, into the matrix. So when the soul enters into the body, that body has been sitting in water. Now, during the time that it's sitting in water, it's marinating in information, because water is information. Now, is the baby sitting in information that is directly from the mom, or does the soul come in and connect to that same information that it had in a previous life? So like when you get a new phone, you have a backup on your old phone. That means that your old phone has backed up information to the cloud that you can transfer when you get your new phone. Now when you get a new body, does the information from your old body transfer to your new body? When your soul comes into your body, does it download from the cloud that we are all connected to, playing this large game that we're all connected to? Or does your soul come in with the information connected to it already? Because everybody comes through water, no matter what. You're sitting in water, right? So the whole time you're in your mother's womb, you're getting information straight from the source. So is that stage in the mother womb like one continuous dream, one continuous DMT feed to the new soul? And during the whole birthing process, while the woman is getting pregnant, before the soul even enters, is your soul having your soul contract done, and then it comes into the body depending on your matrix entry time code. Anyway, those are just a few thoughts. I'm gonna end it with that for today. I love you guys. Peace.
5D Mystery School.
So think of like energy connected to decisions in this way. You make a choice. That choice goes out in the form of energy, like an energetic pendulum. It goes out. It's going to take a few clicks to get out into the ether, and then it's going to come back and hit you at the same intensity or more, with a stronger intensity depending on the energy that you put out, right? And so the choices that you make have they have like consequences, or they have like paths connected to them. So you make this choice, you go this way, this choice goes that way. But the decision that you make, the end result, that choice in that moment, it has karma connected to it. So if you take this route, it's going to have that karma connected to it. If you take this route, it's going to have that karma connected to it. But that karma is going to it's going to be like a tally mark on your human experience here, and that tally mark is going to carry over to your next life, and it's going to go to your next mission. So every decision that you make is going to be tally marks, and at the end of your life, those tally marks are going to be counted up, and then your next mission, your next life is going to be decided.
5D Mystery School.
5D Mystery School. So some more matrix keys. Some of you wanted me to expand more on the last video. So the reason that we are experiencing this reality and the way that we are is because of that slow drip, the slow dimethylamine drip. If we get a rush of that drip, then we will experience the astral realm. So since that's the case, it's safe to say that the astral realm is where our soul goes when we get that DMT trip, when our soul leaves this body. So if you are able to replicate the DMT drip process, right, and expand that, elongate that process, you can have somebody experience that realm at will. And that's what dreams are, because we have the melatonin that comes in due to our circadian rhythm, and that's the melatonin is like the stage one, and then you get into the REM cycle of your sleeping, and then the DMT comes. It's like stages set up that comes, the melatonin and then the DMT that's based on the cycle of the sun and the moon. So the broad scale of the game in a nutshell would be your soul comes in, right? You come in as a baby. And the thing that I find interesting as a baby is that the baby's brain is in delta stage up until the age of 2. So the delta stage is like a sleep stage. Let me give you a graph. So here are brain waves. You can see you have delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. And in the theta stage, it's light sleep, deep meditative state, hypnosis. And the delta stage is deep sleep. So this means that up until the age of 2, the baby's brain is in the deep sleep stage, very impressionable. It's like they are here, but they're still between here and the astral realm, since that's where their soul is fresh out of. And then up at the age of 2, their brain goes into the theta stage. In the theta stage, your brain becomes very impressionable, right? It's like a sponge, and this is the stage of hypnosis. So it's safe to say that a baby's mind is hypnotized into playing the character, to playing the avatar to navigate in this realm. But some babies' brains can break through the hypnosis, and that's when they remember their past life experiences. But for the majority of people that come into the game, their brain is deeply in the theta stage, the hypnosis stage. So it's like, this is why they are habituating. This is why they're picking up their habits. They're picking up their will of karma from their past life, right? And they're incorporating that into this new character. Just because you're in a new body doesn't mean that you don't have any more debt. Just like when you get a new car, you're still paying off your last car. You move into a new house, the same thing. So when you get a new body, you're still paying off your karmic debt. So let's say, for example, in your last life, one of your karmic lessons was to learn how to be more patient. And that's a lesson that that rolled over into this life. So in your adolescent years, or like your beginning years of life, you're going to have a lot of challenges that will test your patience. And you might think to yourself, like, why am I experiencing all these trials and tribulations that have to do with me being more patient? Well, that's because it's a karmic debt that's left over from your past life. Okay, so the baby's brain up into the year of 2, you're in a delta stage, which means you're getting a lot of DMT feed. So when your soul leaves this life, you get that DMT feed, you get that life review. When you come into this life, the same thing. Your brain is at the delta stage, you're getting that DMT feed, and then after the age of 2, you move over to the theta stage, and your brain is being hypnotized into your new character. You know, I believe one of the ways to win this game is to clear all of your karmic debt and not to pick up any bad karma while you're here. So that way, when it's time for your soul to exit the game, you know, the Egyptians used to say that your soul is weighed against a feather. If your soul is lighter than a feather, then you get to evolve. But if you're at the end of your soul contract and you still have a lot of karmic debt, back to the game you go. The foundation of your life is set up in your adolescent years, and then the rest of your life is you healing your childhood trauma and clearing your karmic debt. Your days are made of choices, and then your dreams are the review of the choices that you made. And then the direction that you go is the result of the choice that you made, which is going to bring you closer to your soul evolving, or going to detour you and take you to another route, which is ultimately going to lead you back to the same lessons that repeat until your soul understands and evolves. So here's the thing about DMT. I believe it is a key for your soul to leave this body, right? Because when you're dreaming, if you astral project, your soul leaves your body, but it's connected to your body by a cord. I'm speaking from experience, right? When your soul leaves this body, that means you die. You have the DMT review, and then your soul leaves this body. And throughout the day, you're getting small DMT drips, just enough to keep your soul locked in from leaving this body. So I believe one of the keys to reach soul ascension is to utilize the DMT as a key and open the door of your mind to free your mind, in turn freeing your soul. 5D Mystery School. So do you know why you don't die in your dreams? It's because if you were to die in your dreams, it would literally be game over. Your brain is your life support, and if you don't believe this statement, research brain dead patients. Here's what the neocortex is responsible for. Just to name a few, you have sensory perception, spatial reasoning, complex language processing, neuronal computations of attention, episodic memory. These are key functions to like the human experience in a whole. The whole reason Neo has his name Neo in the Matrix is because of the neocortex. Pause to read a little bit more about the neocortex. It consists of gray matter that surrounds the deeper white matter of the cerebrum. And if you know anything about gray matter controls your impulses. The neocortex controls a person's language and consciousness. The neocortex takes up most of the space in the brain. It accounts for 76% of the gray matter in the brain. Now this is important. The neocortex can be the seat of consciousness. So if the pineal gland is the seat of the soul, the neocortex is the seat of the consciousness. It controls language and consciousness. The neocortex is also involved in higher functions like motor commands, sensory perception, conscious thought, and spatial reasoning. And as you can see here, injury to the neocortex can result in some heavy problems for communication, motor functions, eyesight, and speech. And this information comes from the humanmemory.net. So going back to this, Oculus founder claims to make VR headset that will actually off you if you die in the game. You know, the other day I was thinking that these different realms can also be simulations, like the astral realm is used as a simulation for dreams. But the thing about a dream is that your brain takes you out before you even have a chance to die. So in a way, virtual reality is biohacking, because you're tricking the brain into believing that you are experiencing a real reality. But what is real, right? What we call real is just those electric signals that we get to the brain, and in turn, those get sent to the senses, and senses come with touch. So when you touch a table and you're experiencing dense matter or vibrating strings of energy, then it sends a signal to your brain that this is a solid, resulting in a tangible reality. And if you can do that in virtual reality, then it's biohacking, because your brain can't distinguish the difference. Another example of biohacking would be food, right? Because everything is frequency, everything is energy and motion. So food is nothing more than binary code. And this is just my perspective. So food is vibrating at a certain frequency. So that's the frequency that you perceive it at as. And when it hits your brain reads the binary code, and then it reads the taste file, and then your brain registers the taste at the frequency that is vibrating at. So this is why you can genetically modify food, and you can just change the frequency so that you can increase the taste, and you can trick your brain into hitting parts of your tongue to register the taste as sweeter. And going back to water, water is just another form of energy. And if you think about it, since it's always in motion, then water could be called an emotion, but not the way that we perceive emotions today. But water can also vibrate at certain frequencies, right? You can have toxic water and you can have alkaline water. And then if you have alkaline water, let's say at a pH balance of like anywhere from 8 to 10, then that's how your body reads it, and then it has healing properties. So during the day, your eyes read the visible light, but I believe that your subconscious mind can receive radio frequencies. This is why they have technologies that can send frequencies to your brain. But bringing it full circle, everything that we use in our daily lives deals with energy and frequencies. The reason that you're watching this video on your phone, when you make a phone call, that's radio frequency. But you can also use code and frequencies to manipulate the simulation, like a chronovisor that I did a talk on, and Project Looking Glass. But let me conclude with this. Let's say this is all a simulation, right? And it would have to be ran on a large, if you can fathom the scale, quantum computer. And from what we know today about quantum computers, the chip needs to be cooled in like a large cooling box. So if you had a quantum computer at the magnitude of like an Earth simulator, then you would need to keep the chip in an area like, I don't know, the Arctic Circle. And that's Matrix Keys Part 3.
5D Mystery School. 5D Mystery School.